What if you dropped a single Carolina Reaper seed into the late Cretaceous? Could a chili pepper be the true biological origin of the fire-breathing dragon? Welcome to the continent of Laramidia, 66 million years ago. Rooted in a hidden swamp and supercharged by the Cretaceous period's extreme heat and hyper-concentrated carbon dioxide, you undergo a terrifying, explosive mutation. In just a few years, a single seed has multiplied into a towering, twisted forest of Carolina Reaper trees. The branches droop under the weight of fist-sized, crimson peppers, their skin wrinkled like demonic brains. The air is thick with highly volatile, weaponized capsaicin. Almost no prehistoric beast dares to approach this eye-burning, toxic miasma. Until one day, a pathetic, stumbling figure breaches your territory. It is a baby triceratops. Brutally exiled to the edge of the territory by its herd, it is starving in the dry season wasteland. Its ribs poke through its skin, and its legs shake with every step. Driven by sheer, blinding hunger, it ignores your pungent warning scent. Trembling, it opens its small beak and bites down on a cluster of your scarlet fruit. You instantly release a massive payload of 2.2 million Scoville heat units, a neuroshock potent enough to send any modern mammal into lethal anaphylaxis. But you quickly realize the ultimate loophole: these scaled archosaurs completely lack the pain receptors for capsaicin. In that moment of biochemical misfire, the baby dinosaur discovers that your crimson fruit isn't just filling, it's packed with extreme nutritional density. It goes into a feeding frenzy, gorging itself until its shrunken belly is completely round. Danger always strikes when the guard is down. As the bloated baby naps against your trunk, a chilling rustle echoes from the brush. 3 highly intelligent dromaeosaurs have been tracking this lone outcast. They open their toothy jaws and launch a lethal, too stuffed to run, the baby panics. Facing the incoming razor-sharp claws, it instinctively opens its beak to scream. But the sudden contraction of its overstuffed stomach forces out something else entirely, a guttural, explosive exhalation heavily laced with hyper-concentrated capsaicin gas. The weaponized capsaicin instantly sears its corneas and nasal cavities. The raptor shrieks in sheer agony, collapsing to the ground and violently thrashing in the dirt. Terrified by this bizarre biological gas attack, the remaining 2 raptors break off the hunt and flee for their lives. The surviving baby triceratops just sits there, blinking at you in awe. 5 years pass. The once pathetic outcast has permanently settled in your crimson forest. It consumes hundreds of pounds of Carolina Reapers daily. Under your chemical acceleration and high-fat nourishment, its physique undergoes a terrifying, hypermuscular mutation. But the most lethal modification happens internally. You have forced its anterior crop to mutate. To help grind down your tough, fibrous pepper stems, the dinosaur has swallowed specialized gastroliths from the riverbed, chunks of raw flint and pyrite. During the peak of a blistering dry season, the young adult goes to the swamp to drink. Suddenly, a 33-foot Deinosuchus, a massive prehistoric crocodilian, launches like a biological torpedo, clamping its crushing jaws onto the Triceratops's front leg to drag it into a death roll. This is an absolute death sentence. The flint and pyrite grind together, sparking violently inside the crop filled with highly volatile capsaicin and methane gas. Boom! A muffled explosion echoes from its chest. A 2,700 degrees Fahrenheit jet of blazing orange fire, laced with toxic black smoke, erupts from its beak. The biological napalm blasts directly into the Deinosuchus's eyes and nostrils. Your host doesn't flee. Its massive hind legs dig in, and it aggressively bites down on the crocodile's armored skull. Looking at the smoke rising from the water, the Triceratops finally understands, it is no longer prey. Years later, this mutant Triceratops stretches 30 feet long and weighs a staggering 20,000 pounds. It radiates a pungent, spicy heat, walking the earth like a heavily armored, biochemical tank. As mating season arrives, the pyromancer returns to its original herd to claim a mate. However, it is immediately challenged by the reigning alpha, a 22,000-pound, arrogant giant. The alpha lowers its colossal head and charges the strange-smelling intruder. But your host is no longer a primitive brute that relies solely on physical collisions. Right as the impact is imminent, it opens its horned beak. A 30-foot pillar of blinding fire erupts, blasting point-blank into the alpha's face. This isn't meant to incinerate, it is pure tactical blinding. The sudden flashbang of fire and tear gas completely shatters the alpha's rhythm, instantly destroying its center of gravity. Seizing the microsecond of stagger, your host lunges. Its 3 massive horns slide like armor-piercing lances directly into the alpha's flank. Thud! The 11-ton giant is forcefully flipped onto its side, groaning in defeat. Wreathed in smoke and embers, your host unleashes a deafening roar at the herd, violently announcing the coronation of a new king. The strongest female in the herd isn't repelled by the spicy scent. Instead, she is deeply drawn to the extreme body heat and raging hormones your host emits. They mate under the bleeding twilight. When the first clutch of hatchlings breaks out of their shells, the king makes a move that alters the course of evolutionary history. It leads the queen and the wobbly newborns back to your crimson forest. It gently plucks your scarlet fruit, chews it, and drops the mash before the hatchlings. In that exact moment, your purpose as a single cetus ends. You are no longer parasitizing an individual, you are infecting an entire species. You watch as the hatchlings swallow you down, joyfully letting out tiny, ember-laced exhalations. You watch the queen grow increasingly massive under your chemical nourishment. Guided by your biology, this entire Triceratops herd is undergoing a radical genetic leap into a phalanx of heavily armored pyromancers. But nature never allows such a game-breaking anomaly to exist unchecked. The most brutal drought in history descends upon Laramidia. Tyrannosaurus rex's locks onto the Triceratops herd. This should be a one-sided massacre. But backed into a corner, your host and its queen stand shoulder to shoulder. They shield the hatchlings behind them, locking their massive bone frills together to form an impenetrable fortress wall. Facing the charging male T-Rex, your host doesn't flinch. Fire! The two 20,000-pound biological tanks open their beaks simultaneously. Two intersecting, 2,700 degrees Fahrenheit streams of orange biological napalm rip through the Cretaceous air like heavy flamethrowers. The lead T-Rex doesn't even have time to scream. The weapons-grade capsaicin vaporizes its retinas as the flames engulf its face. It collapses, crashing blindly in agony. The remaining two T-Rexes freeze in their tracks, utterly paralyzed by this incomprehensible biological weapon. Capitalizing on the smokescreen, your host explodes forward with 10 tons of kinetic force, plunging its horns straight through the second T-Rex's heart. The queen flanks from the side, using her colossal bone frill to brutally snap the leg bone of the third predator. Half an hour later, the scarred earth is littered with the charred, bleeding remains of apex predators. The evening wind carries the scent of scorched earth, burnt meat, and the searing sting of Carolina reapers. Your host, a scarred tyrant of flame, stands tall beside its queen. Beneath their feet, the hatchlings, who have just learned how to spark, excitedly stomp on the remains of the theropods. The king throws its massive frill back and unleashes a blinding pillar of fire straight into the heavens, violently declaring the absolute sovereignty of the Fireceratopsian clan. And you, a once insignificant seed, have permanently rewritten the evolutionary history of the Cretaceous.